What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 2 of WTSFC here in 90-Minute Fever. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys an update of what has happened since the last episode, which went up just over a week ago. And yeah, I guess we'll start by having a little bit of team news, and that is the fact that we actually made 4 major sales. If you look in the bottom left, our bank balance is looking pretty nice right now. It's sitting at £5.7 million, which is a really good amount. I am trying to save up a little bit of money with some of the youth players coming in. And yeah, as you can see, I'm going to flash up on screen here, but we sold a few players. The first player we sold was Dylan Griffiths, the Welsh player. We sold him for just over £1 million. I was kind of happy with that. At 24, he's a good player. Will do a good job for someone, but probably not with our team, so I decided to let him go. The other 3 players that we let go, the first one here, Vicente Munoz, the Chilean, a very good player, a player who I didn't really plan on selling, but I got a good bid for him of £1.25 million. I managed to replace him for a little bit cheaper than that, and at 31 years old, he wasn't getting any younger. I've got some fairly good money for him, and whoever picked him up has got a very, very solid player for quite a reasonable price, really. Anyway, the next player we have, Lorenzo Saez, a player who, last episode, I kind of praised as being one of the few defenders that I wasn't going to be letting go, a player who I was determined to keep hold of. Ultimately, I decided to sell him. I had to make a bid of £1.7 million. It was a bid that simply put, I couldn't reject. He was a key player. I got asked to name my price by the person who ended up buying him. I said 1.7 million and he's yours. And kind of to my surprise in a lot of ways, the kind of other manager was willing to pay that. So that's what he went for. 30 years old, a good right back. I have got a shorter term replacement in for him for a lot cheaper. Probably not as good as Saez, but still a good player. But will we miss Saez? Because he was kind of the last of really our opening kind of players in the back four, certainly, to be at the club. Anyway, the last player we sold, player who I kind of talked about the fact I was going to be selling last episode, Vasilev. He went for just over £1.25 million, I think, in the end. It's a good fee for him, the 28-year-old. A very good goalkeeper, obviously. Great agility, great catching, great reflexes. Really, the reason for letting him go was that we just had a goalkeeper who was just performing better than him. So ultimately, it kind of made sense in that regard. Just to let him go. But those were the 4 kind of big outs. Unfortunately, there isn't like a transfer history tab at the moment. That would be really useful because then I could just show you all the players really quickly. Of course, this game is still in early access. So yeah, that's what's been going on there. In terms of the kind of squad as a whole, I have made some new additions to it. That's certainly worth noting. If we just look at my team here, this is what is currently my starting lineup. In goal, we go with the player who a few Dutch viewers told me how to say his name, but I'm still going to call him De Bruyne. He's been a good goalkeeper for us, the 32-year-old. Really good. He's 32, obviously, got a few years left in him. The player who kind of, I want to say, forced Vasilev out of the club. Perhaps that's a little bit harsh on Vasilev, but this guy came in, he performed better. He's not perhaps maintained the level of performance I was hoping he might, but he's still been very, very good for us. We move on to the back four, and actually we start with a new addition. Right back, I was about to call him Charles Brown, 22 years old. Fantastic little fullback here, great physicals, really nice mentals, good heading, marking, tackling technique. Also got good crossing. His dribbling perhaps lets him down a little bit in kind of the attacking side of his game, but other than that, I think for a player we got in for a really modest fee, it's a good little bit of business there, and I'm pretty happy to get him in. Anyway, the kind of centre-backs remain unchanged since last time you were here. We have Bontond Cantor here, the Hungarian, 24 years old, 4-star reputation now, which is nice. Obviously, a lot of you guys viewing his profile, and he's been a good little player for us. Alongside him, we still have Mohamed Marin, actually. So I said about Saez being the last of the back four to leave. That's a lie, because Marin is still here. The 29-year-old Spaniard, fantastic player. Not got the greatest tackling, but his physicals and really solid mentals make up for that. And at 29, still a few years left for him to really give his all for the club. Anyway, moving on to the left-back position, which as you can see is vacated at the moment because we have a suspension. It would be, say, if I can find him. Here we are. So he's suspended for 1 game, but the 23-year-old, he's been a good left-back for us. His physicals really let him down in a lot of ways, but his mentals and technicals really make up for that. He's been a solid performer, if not standout for us this year. Obviously, the high injury proneness a concern, but actually at the moment he is out with a suspension due to the amount of yellow cards he's got. Anyway, we now move on to the midfield, and we start off with a familiar name in Woo Jin-sung, the Korean, 26 years old, great player for us. We've had some fairly hefty bids come in for him. I've rejected a lot of them. Really not a player who's for sale, 26 years old. A player who was here when I first came to the club. I love him. Great player for us. Hopefully we can keep hold of him now going forward. Anyway, first centre mid, we have Frederick Stewart. Another familiar name, was here last time. Continuing to perform well, if not kind of get the goals that he was getting in the league. in kind of, well, if not getting the goals in friendlies in the league, because he scored so many in friendlies. I hope that made sense. In the league, he's just been a little bit disappointing as Frederick Stewart, but 29, still a little bit time to give it his all. And of course, this season has been really a season of experimentation in a lot of ways. Anyway, the first centre-back here, or centre-mid we have here, I think is a new name. If he's not a new name, he must have been a really recent signing in the last episode, but it's this guy, Filip Novak, 21 years old, Czech Republic player, really, really nice centre-mid, like the look of him, 19 determination, some nice physicals, technicals are nice too, got good creativity with that passing and vision, also a hard worker, low injury proneness, and yeah, we brought him in for £500,000, which I thought was a really good deal. Anyway, the next player we have, left midfielder, was here before, Philip Pereira, 22 years old, Brazilian, really good kind of midfielder. We're actually playing him out on the left, which is a role he can be kind of very comfortable in. And he's given some good performances there. A 6.82 average rating in the league. Perhaps could be a little bit better, but I really can't kind of fault him too much. He's been very solid for us. Another new player to our rant is Cal Couto. This guy came in for just shy of £600,000. 22 years old, a really good player. His high injury proneness and his work rate are the only kind of two things that kind of really put me off him. But he's a good player. We got him in for a really cheap fee as well. I think he was just going kind of in the middle of the night, and I happened to be up, so I stuck a bid on him and we got him. I think perhaps a few people put off by the fact he can only really play right attacking midfielder. Since he's come to the club, though, he's been really good. 2 goals, 2 assists, 7.5 rating in league games. Just fantastic from him. The next player we have, Özkan to make up our kind of best starting 11 at the moment. The Turkish forward, a very good player. I have had a few bids on him, but they just were terrible bids, really. Delighted by kind of his impact this season. His average ratings have continued to climb and climb and climb now that we have a kind of a settled system. And yeah, it's good to have kind of a goal scorer like him who we can rely on. Anyway, moving on to the bench real quick. We start with Hunyin Strip. I don't know, SGP, that doesn't even look like a word to me. Anyway, the Korean here, a very good player, high injury proneness, but the fact he can play anywhere at the back has meant that he's been a really solid kind of sub for us at the moment. Next player we have Marlon Hobner, was a starting player for us last time you were here. He's a very good player still, just doesn't really perform to his average rating. A player who maybe is for sale. I've not really got him transfer listed or anything because I think he's still a useful player, age 23. But no, he's not kind of had the impact those attributes might suggest he could have. Another player who kind of follows that kind of mould is this guy, Aiden Nguyen, who we actually signed this week. £600,000 paid. He's 25 years old, really solid attributes, this guy. Really nice physicals, good agility, good balance, jumping, natural fitness, I love it. Mental's really well rounded, you know, only 2 below 10 in composure and off the ball. And then when you look at his technicals, really, again, he's a really solid player when it comes to his technicals. His technique of 5 lets him down, but everything else, with the exception of long throws, above a 10. Just a really well-rounded centre mid, you know, good work rate. Perhaps not got the legs to get between kind of a box-to-box kind of player because of his acceleration and pace just being a bit crap. But he's a solid player nevertheless. He hasn't really performed as I hoped he might, though. He's only had 2 appearances off the bench as a sub in the league. So I might give him a start today because we are going to do a league game following this kind of squad rundown and a bit of an update on some other things. Anyway, the next player we have, Sarah, just a very good player. Can play either side, out wide, 23 years old. Fantastic player. Yeah, love him. Love him, love him, love him. The next player we have, Juarez Mata, another new player, just a kind of player we brought in to be a backup wide man. It's a shame his work rate, composure, and kind of pace isn't quite there, but we got him in for a really cheap fee. He's some okay backup at 21 years old. And kind of he does a job when we need to call upon him. Last 2 players, 2 new strikers actually. 2 players who are kind of coming in as alternatives to Özkan. I like Özkan, obviously, our striker, but the issue I kind of have had is I don't have a second choice striker to make an impact. Often in games, if Özkan doesn't turn up, I've not had that alternative, and that's kind of what we've got with these guys. The first player we have here is Leon Senjic. He is a Bosnian and Herzegovinian. Great finishing. Physical's letting down a little bit. His lack of pace is kind of the problem, and the fact he's not amazing in the air. We've not actually given him a game yet, but you can see if looking at his mentals and technicals, a very good player for a striker. Good composure, good off the ball, good vision as well, and some reasonable passing. Can play a bit of a link-up role. Can also play defensive midfielder, although I don't think he'll ever be playing there for us with 4 tackling and 8 marking. And the last player is Igor Jesus, a player who I brought on once off the bench and he got a hat-trick. So, I mean, he's done the job that I wanted from him. He's 32 years old. I paid quite a lot of money for him, really, considering his age. But he's got some really solid attributes. I guess, similarly to Sergic, he's got the issue of he's not very fast. and he's not amazing in the air. So he really is relying on his technicals and mental kind of wits about him to create space and, well, hopefully grab a few goals, which he did do, to be fair, in his very first game. Anyway, that is a look at kind of the team right now. I think it's worth noting that I have a lot of players transfer listed here. Now, the reason I have all these players transfer listed is the transfer window is about to pass here in 90-minute fever. It's in under 24 hours, so any of these players that sell wouldn't actually move to their club until next month. But I am looking to raise a little bit of money. Obviously, the youth players are coming into the system tomorrow as I record this. And as a result, I want to get some money if I can. So I've got a lot of players transfer listed here. I've had a lot of viewers kind of ask me, Jack, what players have you got for sale? I want to buy one of your players. I now have players for sale. If you're interested in these players, check them out. I often get people send me friendly requests and stuff when I play 90-minute FIFA. I really don't mind you doing that. If you want to have a look at the squad in general, maybe look at a few players, compare them to your own. I feel like most people know this, but if you come to the online user list and then scroll down to the bottom and then look for WTSFM, you will find Work the Space FC on the online player list. Most of the time, I leave the game running a lot. If you ever have any messages or anything like that, or you want to look at my team, you can just kind of right-click on me and then either send a private message or click on the club tab. Have a look at my players. Maybe as I review these players, there's players that I'm underrating, players that you think should be starting that are on the bench or whatever. I'd like to have your input on this save as a whole. And yeah, as I said, I've got player transfer listed here. If you're interested in trying to get some decent youngsters for fairly cheap, there's some good players here, and I recommend checking them out, especially because the youth players that are coming available, as I said, in just under 24 hours' time. The kind of issue I have with them really is that they're going to go for so much money. I have a lot of, fairly good kind of young players here who I've kind of picked up over the last month or so, or got when I first started. But in reality, rather than having a wealth of talent, I'd rather have like one or two really good young stars. And I think it's also worth kind of noting the fact that these players, they're not bad by any means. For example, Daniel Swartz here, 18 years old, looks like he could be a really good player. 16 determination, 18 work rate. Off the ball perhaps lets him down a little bit, but he's got good physicals and he's only 18. Now the issue with these players is that I'd rather have 3 superstars than just a wealth of talent that isn't quite going to be good enough if I want to challenge right at the very top. But I think if you're just starting out and you can't afford the millions of pounds some of these youth players are going to kind of end up being, some of these players could be pretty good value for money. There are some really kind of good players here, and I am open to bids as well. So if you're sat there going, I need young players, and you look through my team and see someone who catches your eye, feel free to stick in a bid or just message me. But yeah, that's that. So I am trying to raise some money, obviously. We currently sit at £5.7 million. You can see the transfer deadline is in 48 hours' time. It's in less than that now. I believe it ends at midnight tonight on the 24th, which is 1 a.m. On Monday morning for you guys in the UK. So anyway, that's kind of what's been going on with my team. In terms of the qualifying league, where do we sit right now? Well, as you can see, we're in third. If we look at projected points, which I'm a little bit hesitant to use and kind of trust, you can see that we have 58 points projected. That total would get us like 5th or 6th. Like, it wouldn't be very good. Obviously, projected points can only be valued so much, especially with a lot of teams with games in hand, which they're yet to play. The season ends in about a month, in about a week, as I've already said. Obviously, the qualifying league doesn't matter too much to me, but it'd be nice to finish as high as we can. Obviously, we have a league game that we're going to play in a second against an offline team, which I'm hoping we can get a good result in. I have also had a few people ask me, Jack, what server, what game world are you playing in? Not what game world. What FA are you playing in? I'm playing in the late evening FA, which there's 22 spots right now. So if you want a chance to play me in the league or in the Inter FA Cups, get in the late FA or late evening FA whilst you can. It's probably going to be worth it. So anyway, that is kind of that in terms of what's going on with the FA, the team, all that jazz. As I said, I'm looking at youth players. I don't want to show the youth players I'm after because I don't want to give away too much, but there's a few players I'm looking at. Anyway, that's the team. That's the situation we're in. Let's get into a competitive match. The team that we are going to be taking on today is going to be AFC Maximus, who are currently 15th. I've seen them online a few times, actually, but they've never been on at the same time as me. They've struggled a little bit. You can see they've drawn 6, won 8, lost 10. This is the kind of game we really need to be winning if we want to kind of push for that kind of top 3 or 4 finish this season, which I think would be a good achievement all in all. I talked a little bit about it last episode, how I feel like the first week or so of me playing this game was very much me experimenting and selling a lot of players in order to bring in the kind of players that I wanted to bring in. There was a high turnaround of players, and the system was frequently changing because it really wasn't settled. I kind of feel like now I have the settled team. I don't have the excuse. I'm hoping that today we can kind of put in a good performance. Looking at their team, they're going to be playing a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. Kind of feel like that suits our system. Unfortunately, both teams getting an injury, presumably from the same tackle, because that's both centre mids getting injured. I said that I wanted to give Nguyen a game, and that I felt like he hadn't really been given a chance. He's going to get a chance in the 3rd minute here. So the American is going to come onto the pitch. Let's see if he can have an impact. He's come on twice as a sub before and not been great. In friendly games where I have started him, he's not really impressed me. And, well, within 4 minutes, we're a goal down, which isn't the start we wanted. We have got a chance, though. Novak, Fox with the tackle. Not the best start to this game. This is a team that we need to win if we want to get that top 4 or top 5 finish. That injury to Stewart is a little bit of a kick in the teeth just because he is one of our bigger goal scorers. He is a goal-scoring threat, certainly. So to lose him is a little bit of a pain, and they're one-on-one here. De Bruyne, it's not how you say his name, it's how I'm going to call it. I'm sorry to all my Dutch viewers, but he's made another save as the keeper. At the moment, very much with AFC Maximus, we have, however, just hit the post. I'm going to make some changes here, I think. The question is, what changes do I want to make? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try, so I want to call it the classic, because it's something I've been kind of resorting to a fair bit. We're going to go more defensive and a little bit more long ball and see how that works. Because I think like our defence, particularly down the spine of our squad in terms of our centre-backs, is amazing. Okay, they've just had a goal disallowed. I mean, that's a warning. That is a warning. This is frustrating at the moment. Oscan shoots from distance. It's gone narrowly wide. What do I want to change here, if anything? They're bossing the game. They're playing with a narrower system. Some of our players just haven't turned up. One of their centre-backs is on a booking now, though, so that's fairly good. Think. We have a chance. Speculative shot. Puts it wide. I mean, at least we're creating chances now. The possession's gone back to 50-50. But we are yet to hit the target. And that's kind of a problem when you need to score a goal, not being able to hit the target. Because most of the time, because obviously own goals are a thing, but most of the time, you do actually need to hit the target, so to say. Our wingers have been particularly disappointing. I might do a double change out wide. Although I say that, Pereira just turns up and scores to make it 1-1. Right as I suggest, I might take him off. He knows. Ozcan has a chance. He shoots. Can we make it 2-1 before the break? Clips the post and goes wide. Well, we really grew into that second half. I talked about wanting to make some changes. I might take off Kuto. Let's do it. So I'm thinking I'm gonna bring in Serra actually to play out on the right. Let's see what he can do. Alessio Serra. I was talking about making a double change. I really can't afford to do that. I forgot we had the injury early on, so I'm gonna hold on to our last sub for now. They have a one-on-one. But our keeper makes himself big, and now one of their players has picked up a knock. That's a shame. That's unfortunate. It's actually their left back as well. Okay, and then we instantly pick up a knock. Actually, it's Pereira with it. Anyway, they've got another chance here. They've got a shot, but a nice tackle by SGP. Please tell me, what does SGP stand for? Get your predictions in. SGP, what does it mean? Let me know. I'm thinking, I don't know. Sergeant Goal Patrol? No, this sounds terrible. It sounds like a really bad superhero. Anyway, second half here. Let's focus on the game. It's 1-1. We've just hit a shot over. This has been a really tight game. We're not hitting the target, though. Part of me wants to take Ozcan off. Ozcan's not had the best game by any means. It's heading for the top corner. They've scored. I'm going to take off Ozcan. Do I want to take it off? He's found time to shoot from distance. Top corner. Oh, okay, I'll take it back. Ozcan, you can keep playing. It's now 2-2. I take it all back. I'm sorry, Ozcan. I never doubted you. I might bring in Hubber. Hubner. Sorry, it's Hubber, not Hubner. I've been calling him Hubner all this time. It's Hubber. I might bring him in for Novak. 25 minutes left. It might be a little bit early to make this sub, and if we get an injury, then I will entirely blame myself. But I'm going to bring on Hubber for Novak. Just because he's not the greatest game as the young Czech player. He's only 21, obviously, so he's got a little bit of time to mature, perhaps. But let's see what we can do. Nguyen hits it from distance, high and wide. This has been a game with lots of shots. And perhaps a little bit of a lack of quality by both teams. It's 22. It's 2-2 though. 20 minutes left. That was what I was trying to say. Two sentences merging into one there, but it's gone over the bar. For a second I thought we were going to score again. We've had 2 shots. They've both gone in. It's not been the greatest game for Grasso in goal for them. Ramiro shoots, puts it over. How many chances are going to be in this game? I'm stressed. Serra, Ozcan, please. He lines himself up for the shot. Oh, he gets tackled. For a second, I thought he was going to score again, and I was going to take it all back. Now they've got a chance. I feel like this isn't going to end 2-2. The amount of shots which are going on, I just can't see it ending 2-2. Fox commits a foul. He's on a booking, ref. Get him off the pitch. Ozcan hits it first time. Please, Ozcan. Grasso decides that he's now going to be a god after getting the 5 average rating. Now they've got a chance. Cantor, nice tackle. Brown commits the foul. Brown, don't do that. Charles, come on now. It's not been a great performance by either defence here, has it, really? The stats are pretty close. Do I want to go more attacking? Part of me does, but then I feel like we've done better playing defensive. Oh, do I want to chase the game? I feel like a win is a lot more valuable to me than a draw. I now appreciate kind of thinking about this a little bit late. Let's make a few minor changes and get back into this 2-2. I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible result. Let's see what we can do here. 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. That's all she wrote. It's going to finish 2-2. AFC Maximus proving to be stern opposition. We went a goal down early on, so to fight back's okay, but for spells in that game, you would have felt like we probably should have scored another. Lots of wasted opportunities by both teams, really. So anyway, that's a little bit of a disappointing result. Where does that leave us? I think that will leave us still in 3rd for now, although that might help our projected points. In fact, no, it doesn't. It keeps our projected points at 58. 10 draws is a little bit of a problem. I need to sort that out. We need to be more killer in front of goal in terms of trying to make things happen. But anyway, for now, that's going to wrap up this episode for me. 22 minutes long. As I said, have a look at my team. If you want to challenge me to a friendly, I'm online a lot. Got some pretty good young players for sale for a little bit cheaper than perhaps what some of the youth players will come up for. I should point out, if this is the first time you've watched 90 Minute Fever, feel free to check out my previous videos on the channel. I did a video introducing this game as well as a kind of video introducing my squad as a whole and kind of my general thoughts. In terms of my approach going into the kind of rest of this season with a week left, really, I'm just going to be looking to pick up a few youth players and just continue to tinker with the system to try and find something I really, really like with our team. That Frederick Stewart injury for 5 game matches is a little bit of a kick in the teeth, but we'll have to try and bounce back from that as best as we can. So yeah, that's all from me, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're still enjoying 90 Minute Fever yourself, please let me know down in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, of course, leave a like. If you've got any comments about my team, about my players, maybe you've clicked on a few of them in your own time and had a look and have some thoughts to them, please let me know. And yeah, other than that, guys, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.